Here is a clip that, thank goodness, I will not usually say this, but thank goodness for the algorithm sometimes. The algorithm
Sometimes.
on Instagram sent me this gem. So this is from Sarah Silverman, and I like Sarah Silverman. I think she's not always great. I think she tries. Her message to Bernie supporters in 2016 at the DNC, I didn't love, but I think
that was a misstep. I think
she's a good heart. I think she tries. Yeah. So
I think that's fair.
That. I'll forgive her that. So this clip in particular, I found really striking, and this clip is from her podcast. So she to set it up, this is a caller. She has people call into her show. And so this caller talks about her brother who asked for a recommendation to join the police force. So let's listen to what happens.
I had a brother who was on the police force in San Jose, and when he was starting the process to become a police officer, relatives are sent out a packet. It's basically like a evaluation form, whether or not your relative is cuckoo or not. And mine was. And so on the back of the form, it said, is there any reason why? And I said, yeah, don't ever give this guy a gun. He shouldn't have a gun.
Wow.
And I said I didn't believe he should be a police officer. I didn't believe he had the right level of maturity, wisdom. I don't know. Anyway, he did become a police officer. I never heard back. I never found out. My brother and I didn't have the best relationship, but he felt like he needed me at that time to get into the force. And he did, and he wound up shooting somebody and killing him. And the case was, like behind closed doors. It was sealed, whatever they want to call it. It wasn't for public to find out. But my brother wound up getting off. And it always kind of, in a weird way, haunts me that, I tried to let them know. And he just wasn't equipped. And unfortunately, my brother did pass away a few years ago, not from being on the police force, but he just led kind of a tragic life.
So you can go to at Sarah Kate Silverman, her Instagram, if you want to watch that full clip. But, the point of that clip is, I think, illustrative of the police force in general across this country. That sister tried. She knew that her brother was not a fit for the police force.
Right.
She warned them that he was not a fit for the police force. Her brother killed someone. And it was a case behind closed doors. The public didn't get to find out what happened and why. The public didn't get to find out that the sister had warned them, and he got off. And imagine how often this happens. We don't know. We will never know.
That's bad. So this was in San Jose. That's Silicon Valley area, Northern California. I am curious to know if we can find out who this gal is, maybe interview her and find out who her brother is, because I would be wanting to dig for those records.
Yeah.
File a CPR or a FOIA request. But that is amazing to me that she warned them and they still didn't care or didn't want. But it just speaks to how toxic the environment is. We talked about this yesterday. The way the training is not going to solve the problem, because the training these officers are given is very much this macho, everybody's the enemy. It's better to shoot and ask questions after. I mean, that's the kind of thing that they're fed daily, in their environment and in their trainings. And most of their trainings aren't even up to speed. We recently had we talked about this yesterday a little bit, the 40 millimeter less lethal rounds. They were trying to get an injunction against the LAPD using them. The NLG was. The judge gave them a partial order, but part of what was included in that is if the officers had the appropriate training, they would be allowed to use these less lethal 40 millimeters. You know, and I'm like, I read this and I'm like, this is worthless. This is absolutely worthless, because right now they're going to send the entire Rampart division to this 2-hour online training and say, voila, they're trained, go at it. You know, it solves nothing. Yeah. Because the idea that we have of training, right, a common sense idea for your average civilian is like, oh, they're actually going to learn how to use these things properly, and they'll think it through before they use it, and it'll be much better. Yeah, that's not what happens. It's not what happens.
Yeah, you would hope it does, but it doesn't. And you would hope that the hiring, the powers that be who hire these people would pay attention to a sister who says, do not hire my brother, he is not mature enough to handle this, that they would pay attention to that. But no,
they don't. You know, and it also speaks to this idea that they should not be going on mental health calls. They shouldn't be going on homeless or unhoused calls. Like there's a million things that we send the police to do that they should not be entrusted with doing. So again, the structural changes that need to come, they haven't been addressed. Derek Chauvin's trial did not address them. It was a step in the right direction. I'm glad that he's being held accountable for his actions. But, you know, we talked about this yesterday too. We need to get rid of qualified immunity. Until we get rid of qualified immunity, there's going to be little accountability from most police actions. That's just a fact.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.